Hey, everybody. Welcome to Movie Talk. I want to introduce our very special guest for today's episode. She is one of the biggest and best producers on YouTube, a friend to a lot of people, and a dear friend of mine and a dear friend of the show. The beautiful, the talented Miss Mandy77.
Seven. There's three
Seven.
there. Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. It's awesome to have you up here.
Thank you. What an introduction. Wow. I'm gonna need everybody to introduce me like that.
Well, before we continue with the show, let's welcome everyone we have here in our side chat. We have Michelle with two L's. We have Miss Mandy. We have Maddie B, Agent of Chaos, one of the best mods out there.
Super mod.
Damian Paxton. We have Lady Bass Guitar Player, Mark the Sarcastic Law Student. Fuka, aka Commentator Auditor. Vini. And we also have Peter K. We have Joseph, is it Bibbit or Bobbit?
Bobbit.
Bobbit. Welcome. And everyone else who is here in the side chat, who's lurking, welcome. Now,
You didn't say Beanie.
I did say Vini.
Oh, you did? I didn't hear
Yep.
you say Beanie.
Movie Talk is a good show for us just to get some new movies and check out some stuff. So let's start off with coming attractions. Welcome, Pokey. I have our first movie up here. Miss Mandy, I was informed that you are a horror movie aficionado.
I love horror movies, yes.
Well, this one's a bit of a nostalgia kick for us.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued.
Let me just cue this up here. Now, how familiar are you with The Exorcist?
Very.
Well, right now we're going to take a look at The Exorcist Believer, the official full trailer. I have subtitles on.
A lot of characteristics from the first movie, but they're just modernizing. Wow, this looks so good already, and we're just a minute in.
That's not all. There's a surprise in this trailer.
Oh my gosh, that looks so good. Ooh, God played a trick on you. All the hairs on my arms stand up.
Now, here is something people are going to love about this movie. This is what Blumhouse did with the original Halloween. This is a sequel to the original 1973 film, so it's creating two different timelines.
Yeah, what's up with the music? I was just going to ask about that.
They're kind of modernizing the music, but it's the same demonic entity, Pazuzu, has now possessed both of these girls, and it requires two priests to help the two families and the former mother of Reagan to defeat this evil. It is scheduled for release October 13th of this year, and I would highly recommend it. We have a fantastic cast. They've paid close attention to details and lore to make sure you're going to get a fantastic experience.
Awesome.
Now, since we just had something a little frightening, how about something a little funnier?
Okay, great.
Michelle was asking me earlier about what did I have in store for today's show, and I had told her we have some dancers.
Okay. You want to explain that?
Yes. The next movie is a comedy coming out this year. I believe it's coming out this month, actually. It is a all-star cast called Back on the Strip. This is going to be a good one.
So you think about putting the band back together, huh? But I don't think that group will work out now.
Stop acting like you don't miss it. I mean, the women, the cheers, the tips, the tips.
I do. But how you gonna do that with your leg?
My dancing days is over, but I got a ringer.
I am not a clown. I'm a magician.
You need to tell your face.
Boy, when you moving out? I am tired of sneaking men in. The last one I had there was so loud. When I let him come in my back door, I was scared he was gonna wake you up.
Oh, we ain't got no back door.
That's a little too much info, Mama.
There's only one way you're gonna do this, Merlin. Your way.
Once upon a time, we were the finest male dancing troupe in town, the Chocolate Chips. It was a gold mine. Mr. Face, Mr. Body, Mr. Slim Sexy, Dr. X, and the one and only Mr.
Dr.
Big.
X.
Why don't you go get ready?
Ooh.
Crowd waiting for you.
You want me to go out there alone and be a stripper? But I'm a magician.
Can't. Ain't no camp in Vegas.
Hold on.
Are you seeing?
Whoa.
We back in business.
Wesley Snipes
You haven't talked to the
showing
Chips
that
in years.
comedic talent
How
of
you gonna
his.
find 'em?
I love Wesley Snipes.
JB Smooth, one of my favorite comedians.
But that's got to be the stupidest idea I ever heard in my life.
Quadruplets?
Man, we have fun back then.
Mr. Body.
Let's give it up for Dr. Xander Pipe.
Sanders, right?
Gus the mask.
Fat ass.
It's time for you to get on stage and do it your way.
5, 6, 7.
Wait for
I
it.
can't do the left side if he's moving right.
This is not a little nonsense. Without further ado, ladies, the chocolate chips. It's showtime, brother.
Hey, let's go with a bang, guys. Bang, bang.
Bang, bang, or bang, 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 bang. The bangs are-
Is there a
the bangs are
difference?
too high.
Yeah, he overbanked it.
How do you
I love the
overbang?
name.
This is one of my. This is one of the movies I saw earlier this year in the trailers, and I wanted to watch it.
I love the
We have
name of it. Back on the strip.
After the woman of his dreams leaves, Marlon Lee moves to Las Vegas to pursue a career as a magician, but only to end up as a male stripper to form a new version of the legendary dance crew, the Chocolate Chips, led by Luther, played by Wesley Snipes. He reunites them with the old crew to go on one more final dancing show. If you're not familiar with some of the talent in here, we have Bill Bellamy. He was awesome in Def Jam's How to Be a Player. He's a fantastic stand-up. Gary Owens playing Dr. X, personal favorite comedian of mine, an Ohioan. So go, Gary.
Hi, Ian Pleasant.
We also have
Let's be pleasant.
now this is a drama-free zone here, guys. We don't do drama unless it's a movie drama, but then that's something different. Anyways, now that we had a little bit of fun, how about for the next coming attraction, some action? This is a movie I've actually been anticipating for a long time. Let me get this queued up. I had Florida Man help me get my computer reset up, and you know how Florida men are. They don't do
Yeah.
tech enough.
Yeah, I do. I'm good friends with one.
Hey,
What did you think, that was loaded or something?
I felt that was a personal attack, but yes.
Wait. There's something going on in your chat. What is that? What does that super chat say?
Oh, Miss Mandy for $2. Break a chair. No, but
Don't you do a chair breaking sound every time you get a super chat?
I lost that sound file,
Oh no. Okay.
so I have to
I'm gonna need you to reenact.
I am not breaking this chair. I spent almost $200 on it. But
Hey, Damien. Welcome back.
I do have something.
That's fine.
I do have something for you since you
Oh,
asked
okay.
that. Do you know the way to break a chair?
What was that? What did that say?
Do you know the way? Do you know the way I break a chair?
No.
Oh, I break a chair pretty bad. I break one and
In
bust
pieces?
my ass. Yes, I literally did break that chair into 3 different pieces.
Okay, I'm pleased with the description. Are you making fun of my laugh?
No, I've installed a new soundboard.
Yeah, I think you're making fun of my laugh.
No,
It's okay. I'm just
But,
teasing you.
I installed this new soundboard. I haven't had a chance to actually go through all of the soundboard itself to find the right stuff, but I will find the right clips and get them set up for the next one. This next movie is Blue Beetle.
That looks really good.
Blue
So he's a
Beetle.
new superhero, I guess.
Actually, he's not.
He's been around?
He has been around for a while. Blue Beetle dates back to around the 60s and 70s.
I haven't heard of Blue Beetle. How have I not heard of Blue Beetle?
Blue Beetle is actually, there's 2 different ones. There's
Okay.
the Ted Cord, which was the original Blue Beetle, who was a mere human who found the scarab and based his character on that. That's why he had a flying ship that we just saw in the trailer.
Oh, that's what it is, Maddie. Okay, so he's co-streaming. I didn't realize that. Okay.
All right. And this new Blue Beetle is Jaime Reyes. He is a 16-year-old in the comic books, but in the movie itself, he's portrayed as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old who has bonded with the scarab.
You've been cut off on your NCR News Network channel.
Oh, no.
Stream suspended for policy violations. Sorry. Just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah. We got a copyright notice. Hopefully we can go live soon.
I'll put in chat.
Let me take a look at this.
It may have just suspended it for a few minutes. Stream suspended for policy. No, it's cut you.
Oh, dang.
You're gonna have to. Are you still on the other channel?
Yeah, I'm still on it.
No, I'm just looking at NCR News Network. Are you still on the movie channel?
Let me check.
No.
Nope. It's
Suspended on both.
Yep.
Shays kebab.
Let me go to the email.
Right.
Let me see what they're saying. What violated me? Okay, we're back.
Yay. Okay. Good. It just cut you for a few minutes.
Yeah, it was the music.
Gonna have to interrupt it more often too. Maybe. Guess who's back? Back again.
Yes, we were interrupted because of the music.
Oh yeah, right. Blue Beetle. Dang you, Blue Beetle.
I'm still gonna watch the movie. Let's see. But Blue Beetle is actually one of the very few Hispanic superheroes.
Oh, cool.
So that's why I'm really excited to watch it, because the Beetle actually bonds with the host permanently.
Cool.
And there have been different Beetles in different source materials. Like there's been a Martian who's had a green Beetle. in the TV series Young Justice. And essentially, the beetle can do anything you want it to do. Like if you want it to make you like a sound cannon, it can do it. So
Very cool.
let's see what we have for Pokey. We have the Equalizer 3 trailer, which I promised we would play. So let me get that queued up.
Thank you, Maddie, for posting that.
Thank you, Maddie. And thank you for everyone who was sticking around with us. I promise we'll talk more about what we're watching in these trailers.
Can we watch the new Scream trailer too? I know it's out, but
Scream 6?
I haven't even seen the trailer yet.
Yes, I will get that queued up for us next. Now, I haven't seen the Equalizer movies. I know
I love him, though. He is such a good actor.
Denzel is a phenomenal actor.
Is he not? I mean, and he can do just, I believe, anything. I'd like to get like him.
I
reading
think we
the
might have
Bible.
got another notice.
I see you still active. You're still active?
No, we got another one.
Nope. There you go. It just went down. Okay, you're gonna have to.
Okay, we're going to have to stop doing that.
Or you're just gonna have to show them muted.
Yeah. Let's just give it a few minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to blame Florida Man because it's Florida Man.
It's not giving you a community guideline strike, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I'd make sure because if you're getting a warning and then a strike, that can take your channel down. So I'd make sure
Yeah, I'm going to check that now.
it's not worth losing your channel over. So I would double check.
Yeah, we'll just stop the trailers then, and I'll talk about the movies I had
Okay.
planned to show for trailers.
What is it saying in the email? If you don't mind me asking, I'm just trying to help.
Let me open it back up. It's pretty much the same thing as the last one. Music.
Music. Okay, just play them muted. We'll just talk about them muted.
Yeah, it's the music that's doing it.
Then
Because
play it muted. Yeah. I'll tell you when it comes back up. Yeah, we'll talk about them muted. Still get that way we can guess about what they're saying. That way more fun. There used to be a whole show on VH1 dedicated to that.
Yeah. No, I didn't get a strike. So that's
It's just
good.
a warning.
Just
It's probably just a warning.
yeah, just a copyright notification.
Yeah. Okay. They're just warning you. They're just like cut this shit out.
Yeah. Let me get back to movie so that way I can. There we go.
There we go. We're back.
Okay. Sorry about the interruptions. I do apologize, but the music in the trailers are hitting us with the copyright warning, so we'll be playing them muted. If they have closed captions, I will play them with closed captions. But YouTube is
YouTubing.
yeah, they're very fickle.
That's a good word.
Very
Not
fickle.
the word I would have picked, but it's a good one.
It's a nicer word than I want to use.
It is. It is a nice word.
I want to use a different F word, but I like getting monetized. I like getting paid for my hard work.
Mhm. Yeah. It is. It is a nice word.
Let's see. Let me pull up. And you said you haven't seen the new Scream yet. You said Scream
No.
6, right?
I have it. I've been meaning to. I hear it's actually really good, but
It is actually fairly good from.
oh, you've
What
seen
I-
it?
I haven't seen it. I've heard a lot of people talk a lot of high praise on it.
We should watch it.
I don't own a copy of it.
Oh, okay.
If I did, I'd be area in the movie nights,
Okay.
which I do have to make a note on. I promised you guys a movie night last week, but I was sick. I'm sorry, but
How dare you get sick?
I know. I tried not to get sick, but I got sick. Here is the trailer for Scream 6, starring Jenna Ortega.
Chat, help us figure out what they are saying. Put in the chat what you think they are saying.
I do have.
Oh my gosh, what are you doing? We need help. Oh, look, there's closed caption. Just kidding. Pause it.
Ghostface.
1 second, please, Ghostface. You just stepped on the pork rinds, and I have a real issue with that. I don't mind you shooting the people and stabbing the people, but not the pork rinds. Okay.
Look, I get you got a job to do, but do not step on delicious snacks. Those snacks did nothing to you.
I get you have a job to do.
Look, slashers are hardworking individuals.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
The
so
trailers
much
are
for
killing
being-
it. It's the trailers.
It's the trailer. So much for it being music, like they said. Liars.
Well, I kind of expected Paramount.
Sorry.
Well, we'll
Hey,
just go to
Christopher
something.
O'Connor. Bye, Christopher O'Connor.
Oh,
Okay. Well, no more trailers.
yeah. I'm gonna have to start fixing that. Oh. Oh man,
Sorry.
it's
I
fine.
advise that you mute it. My bad. With them saying it's music, you would think, that it's music.
Yeah, they're saying it's being picked up by for music, but it's muted. And I'm willing to bet it's going to be the same fucking email. Watch me the same fucking email I'm getting. It's like YouTube does not want to have. It's like they do not want to have a good time on YouTube anymore.
Yeah, Christopher O'Connor said, so you can't show a trailer? Isn't that like a commercial? Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I kind of call bullcrap on that. It's really kind of messed up, honestly.
Oh, I know. Let's go to the emails.
They're going to take you down for the full 120 minutes or seconds, rather. 2 minutes, 2 straight minutes.
Yeah, because it's copyright notice interruptions. That's what I'm getting.
Okay, we're back.
Okay. They are killing us for the trailers we're showing. I'm sorry about that, folks. I do apologize.
Sorry.
However, YouTube, please be cool. Be cool with us. I would play another one, but I don't want to take the chance of them just killing the entire stream completely. So
I would encourage you to super chat, as this has been demonetized.
oh yeah, I am not making any money off of this. And any super chat will get a random button off the soundboard. You might get me being laughed at. You might get some.
I'll laugh at you for free.
Well, aren't you kind? But super chats are encouraged.
Yes.
And I will say this. If we keep getting demonetized like this, YouTube, it's not going to. Why you got to be so mean, YouTube, for real? I mean, we're just having fun, watching some commercials, talking about awesome movies.
Why is Beanie not a mod? I'm just curious.
He should be a mod. You know what? Let me fix that. Because I thought he was modded already.
I mean, it's your channel, it's your business. I was just curious. Like,
No, 'cause No, I thought he was already modded. That's the thing.
I mean, I know he's got a big head and everything, but
No, he doesn't have a big head. He's got a
Oh,
big
yes.
heart.
yes, he does.
And if I can get this to work. Vinny, you are now a mod.
So what were you telling me earlier about the Wolfman?
Yes, I was going to bring up the last voyage of the Demeanor. If you're not familiar, it is the section of Bram Stoker's novel Dracula where we find out what happened on the way from Transylvania to England. And in the new movie, there is a nod to Larry Talbot, aka the Wolfman. However, in doing further research for tonight's stream, I did uncover there is a new Frankenstein in the works.
Oh, a new movie?
Yes.
Any
It's due
idea
to
when
come-
that's supposed to come out?
It is due to come out later this year,
Really? That's soon.
towards November. Since we are no longer allowed to play trailers, let's get into news from Hollywood. We have first up the tragic passing of Johnny Hardwick at age 64. If you're not familiar with the name, you might be familiar with his iconic character, Dale Gribble from King of the Hill.
Yeah. Very sad.
He did have a YouTube channel where he portrayed both his Dale Gribble character himself and a third, Rusty Shackelford. It's actually well worth a subscription. He put out some funny stuff on there. He did original songs and covers. He played his own instruments, which is phenomenal. Now, it has possibly impacted the revival. There are rumors that it may not happen now due to the fact that he was one of the key characters to be in the show. There are also some speculations and rumblings that he may have already recorded all of his dialogue for the complete season.
Oh.
We don't know what's happening yet, but we will keep you guys informed.
So I heard there's a Deadpool 3.
Yes, Deadpool 3 is coming out, and it is going to star Ryan Reynolds as the iconic Merc with the Mouth, Deadpool.
Yeah.
And coming out of retirement for one more role as Wolverine, Hugh Jackman.
I thought I had seen pictures of Hugh Jackman like on set.
Yes, he has confirmed that he will be in the movie, and he will be in the iconic or yellow, black, and blue
Yes.
costume.
That is awesome. That is
Also-
absolutely awesome.
Also coming out of Hollywood, the Armorer from Rust got a court date as she pled not guilty in her trial. She has
I
been-
know. I don't know how she's getting away with that exactly, but
Well, here is what we have on that. The Armorer, Hannah Guzman Reed, Gutierrez Reed has pled not guilty in her involuntary manslaughter and evidence tampering charges. I didn't know if you were aware of the evidence tampering charges.
I was, yes.
Reed is pleading not guilty, and her trial is set to start jury selection on December 6th. They are charging her with both counts, even though her defense team has tried to get the whole thing kicked off because they said there's been jury tampering, and this does still affect Alec Baldwin because he can still be charged. It has come to light that on the set, Miss Reed had, before the cops showed up, gave drugs to another member of the crew to hide and get off the set before they come.
Sorry, but this is what you get when you don't go through the union, and that's exactly what they were doing. They were going cheap. Sorry, but they have that union for a reason. And that's just my opinion. And I know it's not an extremely popular one, but I'm not very popular these days. So,
well, it's fine. I mean, because we've had this discussion before on Mando Mike's channel, but one thing is they are actually looking at her for the reckless endangerment because she mishandled the props by not making sure there were dummy rounds on set and in the firearm. And she may have modified the revolver Alec Baldwin was holding. They are inspecting it right now to see if it was made to be fired without having to pull the trigger.
here's my question. Why were there live rounds on set?
The live rounds were on set due to the fact that some of the cast and crew wanted to play with the guns.
That's ridiculous.
And her father, who happened to be in the industry for over 20 plus years, who's taught her everything he knows, she should have known never to bring live rounds onto the set.
And I'm going to be that person. I don't care who her father is. That's like those people that get pulled over and say, my daddy's a lawyer. Doesn't matter. That's not her experience. You know what I mean? Just because her dad has that experience doesn't mean she has it.
The trial is scheduled to start jury selection December 6th and is expected to go through until December 15th. Miss Reed has also been saying that she has no knowledge that the Colt 45 revolver was modified, and it has been denying the accusations of drug use on set. However, according to sources from the set, there were known abuses of alcohol and narcotics on the set, and she was highly involved.
I wonder if she had to take a drug test.
More than likely she did. Next up in Hollywood news, Leah Remini and the Church of Scientology are at it again. Miss Remini has filed a harassment and defamation lawsuit against the Church of Scientology and its leader, David Miscavige.
They won't leave her alone.
Oh, no, she has left them. She left in 2013. She did put out the A&E mini documentary series, Leah Remini and Scientology.
Yeah, I've seen all that. Yeah, it was good.
And I will say this. I grew up in Florida, and a lot of what they did in Clearwater still has an effect to this day.
Really? Wow, that's very surprising.
In this lawsuit, Miss Remini is claiming that the church has...
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry that the chat is frozen. I know it's very aggravating. It's a known YouTube issue. Just try to hold out. It freezes for 2 to 3 minutes, and then it comes back. Sorry.
According to the filings on Wednesday at the LA Superior Court, she has filed claims of stalking, surveillance, harassment, threatening, intimidation, and malicious tampering with her employment. She has claimed that she has proof that David Miscavige has paid private investigators to infiltrate her neighbor's house to plant illegal surveillance equipment. She has also has shown documents to the court that they have made claims of unsubscribing her from life.
leave this girl alone. She has been away from them for this long, 10 years. Leave her alone. It's time. My gosh.
She has also claimed, due to the harassment of the Church of Scientology, it has caused her show on iHeartRadio has also affected her for her gaining employment due to the harassment of companies that are hiring her, production companies, staff, and their families. This is a known tactic in the Church of Scientology where they label somebody as a oppressive person, and if they are a public figure, they do go after them hard.
Right.
And as I said about the whole thing with Clearwater, they tried to intimidate the entire city. Do you remember the story of Winter the Dolphin?
That's it in a stone. I'm not familiar with that, Ian. Maybe NCR is familiar with it.
What is that?
I'll be right back.
All right. I don't know if she's going to get another nomination for Best Actress, but that's a movie I'm not familiar with. I'll take a look at it tonight. The movie is Poor Things. I'll take a look at it tonight, Ian, and I'll let you guys know in the next episode on what I think if she'll get the nomination. But as I was saying, Winter the Dolphin was a dolphin that was found that had lost part of its tail, and miraculously they found a way to make a prosthetic tail for Winter, and she resides in the Clearwater Aquarium where she is happy and healthy and treated with a lot of love. The church wanted the aquarium site, and they gave the city an ultimatum. Either you give us the land, or all the buildings we bought we will leave to be derelict. So you can tell they were not going to be nice. The court date has not been set for any motions to be heard as of yet. I will keep on to this story. However, all evidence they have has been nearly confirmed 100%. All right, next up, when Mandy gets... Are you still with us, Mandy?
I'm here. My air conditioner is blowing really loud. In fact,
right.
I'm trying to keep muted so it doesn't,
It's fine.
everyone.
It's fine. I grew up in the South.
And I am opening a Klondike bar, so I'm trying not to mind everyone's ear.
Now, Mandy, as we said in the beginning of the show, you're a horror movie aficionado.
Absolutely.
Is there what are some of your favorite horror movies? And
I really like the Saw franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. And of course, I like Friday the 13th.
As well as I do.
Yes. And the Halloween movies, of course. With the exception of the last one. Kind of thought that one sucked.
I haven't seen the last one yet, but I will put it on my watch list.
Anything. But yeah. You need to watch it just so you can realize how bad it is. But I was really disappointed in them for that one. But anyway, spoiler alert. It's but I really like the Saw franchise. Even the last one that came out. To me, they're just so good. Anything that has a possibility of, even if it's just a small inkling possibility of happening in real life, I find those fascinating.
Now, are you aware there is an actual 10th Saw movie coming out this year.
No, no, no,
Yes.
I'm not.
There is a 10th installment.
I saw that before, Damien. That's just fanfic, but I think it's pretty cool.
I don't know. I think that might be more accurate. Here is something that you'll enjoy. The plot of the new Saw movie, Saw 10, it's another prequel into the early lives of Jigsaw, John
Mhm.
Kramer.
Right.
This is when he is first told about his diagnosis and how he might have a chance for a miracle.
Okay.
He goes to Mexico, where he goes under a operation to help remove the tumor. Unfortunately, he was scammed. And now he seeks revenge on everyone involved in the scam.
Interesting. That
And
sounds good.
in the trailer that is available, he gives one person the option of retrieving a key that will set him free by performing brain surgery on himself with no anesthetic.
What?
Yes.
So much for things that could possibly happen.
Oh, you can do it. I just want to advise it. Now, what drew you to be a fan of horror films besides the possible, like you said, reality?
The fact that when I was a kid, I was so scared of Freddy Krueger.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that he was going to come out of my closet with that glove and rip me apart. That I kept watching it and watching it and watching it until I wasn't scared of it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me to where I loved horror movies. And I watched the whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And then I was like, I watched Candyman. And I don't think Candyman's scary, though. I kind of laughed at that. And then I just started digging into horror movies. And whenever a new one would come out, I was like, yes, I have to watch this. So I just watched it till I wasn't scared anymore.
Now, I have to ask, when it comes to horror, do you feel what's your opinion on when it comes to grotesque portrayal of female nudity? Do you feel it's exploitative or is it an artistic expression?
I don't feel it's exploitative because that actress is making a choice to be in that role at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So she's making that choice. She's signing that document, and she's not being forced to do it. So I don't ever really feel like those are exploitative.
And
maybe that's a different take than what most people have. But
and again, I would say it's a mixed bag because for me, if it's done organically to the story, I understand it. However, you can admit with me on this one. Some of the Friday the 13th installments did
overdo it.
They did overdo it, and so did a lot of 80s slasher films and horror films.
Agreed. Doesn't mean I like to see it, but
now
sense to it.
Now, how, as a mother, do you feel horror films are pushed to a younger demographic, or
no?
appropriate at what age a child should start getting into those kinds of movies?
Well, that's hard to say because I think it depends on a maturity level.
Mm-hmm.
Like the maturity level of your child. Like my son loves horror movies, and he has from a young age because he understood that they weren't real, that it was just actors playing an act, playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
So he just never thought that they were really, never thought boogeymen were coming to get him. So,
And I've started watching horror movies at a very young age. I believe the first horror movie I can actually remember watching is the first Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was like 4 years old.
yeah,
Of course, it gave me nightmares, but
right.
But is there anything in particular when it comes to horror you find is way too much?
I think sometimes the killing just to kill. What was it?
The violence?
Yeah, I wanted to say Conjuring, but that's not it. Yeah, maybe it was the beginning of Conjuring, where they killed like 100 people within the first just few minutes of the movie. If I'm thinking about the right movie, killing just to kill, I don't get that. But when they're hunting and stalking and coming after them, that's what I like to see. When there's a reason behind the murder, when there's a reason. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, Damien's asking similar to
Hostel is one of my favorite movies. I love Hostel. And I don't think it's really foreign.
It's been given that title due to the gratuitous violence of that particular franchise. We have another question for you. Do you prefer slashers or psych thrillers?
Psych thrillers, definitely.
What would be a good psych thriller you could recommend for the viewers?
Ooh. I kind of think Hostel is a psych thriller because it really does mess with you. Like, what are they going to do next? How is she going to get out of this?
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's something that could possibly happen in the real world. So I guess that's another reason why I like that movie so much. A good psych thriller. Can I get back with you on that one? There's so many to go through. Let me get back with you on that one.
I would recommend a good psychological horror film, a good thriller, even detective movie combined would be Dressed to Kill.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
Starring Nancy Allen and Ian McKellen. Not Ian McKellen, Michael Caine. I'm sorry. It is a phenomenal movie. I highly recommend it. It's one of the very first in that particular genre I watched, and I was like, I had to watch it multiple times just so I could understand it. Yes, The Game with Michael Douglas. That's another great psych thriller.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a mid-90s psychological horror film where Michael Douglas portrays a man celebrating his 40th birthday after his father, at the same age, self-deleted.
Oh, what about Safe House?
Safe House I would consider that.
Would you not consider that a psych thriller? I don't know. It kind of is. Good movie.
Ian has brought up two really good ones: Heredity and The Babadook.
Heredity, yes. Babadook, I haven't seen. Gosh, there's.
Safe House is an action suspense film, and I would agree. And here, this is something I actually love about horror, and this is a quote from Sean S. Cunningham.
Don't hang up.
Don't hang up. I think that would be considered one, but
And I just seen that recently. It just came up in my recommended stuff on Amazon, and I was like, okay, I'll watch that. It was freaking great.
you know, my love for horror films it dates back to this quote.
Panic Room. That's a good one, Damien. Yeah.
Watching a horror movie is a great way to experience death without having to pay the consequences. Because he describes it, you sit in it, you sit on the seat of the roller coaster, and you go and you get the screams, you get the scares from the height, and then you just come down. But at the end of the day, you've just experienced something that is extremely terrifying, but you're still safe.
Yeah. There you go.
Demon's also recommended Phone Booth, which I would say is more of a suspenseful drama.
Suspense. Yeah. Not really a psych thriller. I wasn't overly impressed with Phone Booth. It was okay.
Now, how do you feel about certain directors? Do you feel is there any really good directors that stand out in the horror genres?
I am not overly good with directors and producers and things like that. Well, of course, John Carpenter immediately comes to mind for obvious reasons. But that's as far as I can really go. Sam Raimi, maybe, but he's more of well, no, he did do Evil Dead, didn't he?
Yes, he did do the Evil Dead series and the sequel Army of Darkness.
Rob Zombie's movies are good.
I am not an actual fan of Rob Zombie's films.
Really? The Devil's Rejects? Come on.
I have to say this. I've watched his movies. The Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yes.
I've watched them. I haven't watched Three from Hell yet. It's on my list.
I haven't seen that either.
The 2 Halloweens but directed. I would say are not my cup of tea when it comes to horror films, because it just felt too gratuitous, and like he shined more of a light on his wife, Sherry Moon, which he does in a lot of movies.
That's
it just takes me out of it. It just takes me right out of it, and I couldn't really get into them.
Yeah, I get that.
Now, something I actually did enjoy is, and this is going to make me feel old, but I have been enjoying a lot more of the older movies, the 50s movies.
Like based in the 50s, like Shawshank Redemption, or like actual 50s?
Like actual 50s movies. And Vinny, don't get me wrong, she's a very attractive woman. But she's not the best actress out there. But I've been getting into, like, you know, the old 50s B movies, the, you know, Attack of the Giant Crab Monsters, or, you know, The Wasp Woman, the older stuff that I find to be campy.
Right.
And, you know, segueing that into the next question I have for you is, when it comes to horror literature, how do you feel about them adapting that into movies?
Okay, can you be a little bit more specific on what you mean by that?
Like, how do you feel about them adapting, like, stuff like Dracula or Frankenstein into
Making a movie?
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic for many reasons, because, well, there are people who prefer not to read and prefer to watch movies. And I like to see how they change it and edit it to make it into a film. I like to read the book first and then watch them and see how it adapts. Like Pet Cemetery was a good one. See how it changed. Birds. Yeah, Vinny, that's a great movie. Birds.
And Ian, to answer your question, I have not seen Carnival of Souls yet. I was actually going to watch that tonight.
Cat People. That's a good movie.
And
Yeah.
I have seen the 80s remake of The Cat People starring Anthony Hopkins and Natasha Kimsky. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right. But the original is so, the remake was so good when it came to visuals. The transformation of Natasha turning into a freaking panther. It just freaked me out. Because, her and her co-star are having a passionate hug.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And then she turns into a freaking Black Panther. I'm like, no. What am I watching?
A lot of people like Clive Barker. He's just not my cup of tea because I'm not really into Hellraiser or Candyman and those kind of movies. But
It's funny you brought that up because here's something about Clive Barker. He has had a lot of his stuff turned into movies.
Yeah.
But he has felt like they have been like ruined on how they're portraying them. So that's why he directed Hellraiser and Candyman.
Right.
Also, for the longest time, I didn't know he was a member of the LGBTQ community.
I didn't until just now.
And I was like, I found that out like a couple of months ago. I'm like, what? No, I thought he was married, but no, he's out and proud, and I support him. I love his books. His
I'm
books.
surprised you haven't brought up James Well because we were just talking about those kind of movies.
I have watched some of James Well's stuff. I would say the best James Well adaptation of a movie would be War of the Worlds.
Frankenstein. Hello.
James Well did not do Frankenstein.
I beg to differ with. I'm going to Google it right now.
Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein.
And Bride of Frankenstein, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait a minute, are we talking about? No, I am so wrong. Yes, I admit it. I am wrong. I was thinking H.G. Wells instead of James Wells. I am sorry. I own Frankenstein. I own it.
And The Invisible Man. I'm looking it up now. Yeah.
James Well was one of the first openly gay directors in Hollywood. And
That's true, Ian. Yeah. And The Shining. What a great movie that is. Wow.
did you know that Stephen King did not like the Shining movie?
Yeah, I did know that. I've seen like so many interviews and things about The Shining. Yeah. And that's a good book too.
But James Wells, when he did Frankenstein, I love his casting of Calvin Clive as Henry Frankenstein. It's one of my favorite movies. I got into watching the older ones last year, and I was like, why haven't I watched these sooner?
You know who we haven't even brought up? Wes Craven.
And I need to bring him up because he's an Ohio boy.
Oh, really?
Yes. Wes Craven was born and raised in Ohio, and he actually based Freddy Krueger off a real life experience that he had.
What? That I didn't know.
Yes. The story is Wes was approximately 8 to 10 years old. And one night he heard a noise outside of his window.
Uh-huh.
And he looked out and he saw this old looking homeless man wearing a fedora and a long coat.
Uh-huh.
And the guy looked up, and West, felt scared. So he hid down and he waited, and he looked up out the window, and the guy was still there. And he kind of made like a lunging at the window. And when he saw what West said,
no.
as he can see the guy scare him, and he had this like weird sadistic smile, like he took joy in scaring him.
Oh, no. No,
But he
no.
also based on how, Freddy was doing his killings off an actual thing happening with Laos and Hmong refugees.
Mm.
These young men, no older than 25, were deathly afraid to go to sleep.
Mm-mm.
And one gentleman, he lived with his parents, and his parents said, "Why aren't you sleeping?" He's like, "Because he told him he would not wake up." So the dad was a doctor, and he gave him sleeping pills. And he did the exact same thing Nancy did. He hid an extension cord and a coffee machine in his bedroom, in the closet. He was hiding the sleeping pills the dad was giving him.
Dang, that's crazy.
And one night he just fell asleep, and his parents put him in bed. They heard him thrash. They heard him. And then out of nowhere, he just died.
Who directed Last House on the Left?
That was a Sean Cunningham, Wes Craven collab.
That's a really good movie.
It is a
Watch that
really good
again.
one. Remake or original?
I haven't seen the remake. I wasn't aware there was one.
Yes, there was a remake made in the late 2000s.
Oh, then I haven't seen the original. I have seen the remake.
The remake is the original takes place in 1978, 79.
Okay.
Around. I own a copy of the original.
Cool. You need to show that one night. Movie night.
Oh, that movie that's a tense movie to watch.
Is it? Oh.
Because it is very, very graphic in some of the scenes. Yeah,
Really?
and-
Ooh. Never mind.
yeah.
I'm good.
Being that we're talking about this particular movie, it brings me to the genre of grindhouse films.
Okay.
Have you seen any grindhouse films?
I'm sure I have.
Stuff like Last House on the Left is considered a grindhouse film.
okay.
Midnight Cowboy,
Yes.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
Do you feel some of those movies get a bad rap because a lot of them were considered X-rated or unrated, or
Yeah.
what would be now an NC-17?
Yeah, of course they do. But it just depends on what you like in a movie.
Now, is there any particular movie that you just can't watch, regardless of how scary it is?
Because I still can't watch Freddy Krueger movies. I can watch some of the most violent horror movies that you can imagine, but I still can't watch Freddy Krueger movies. I still can't.
Yes, Ian. That would be considered a grindhouse film.
And I can't watch Sleeping with the Enemy.
I don't think a lot of people can watch Sleeping with the Enemy, but I mean, I remember watching it as a kid, and that movie kind of messed me up a bit.
Yeah, I can't watch Sleep with the Enemy. That's a rough one for me on a personal level. Yeah. Can't do it. And I just can't watch just the basic Freddy Krueger movie. I know that sounds ridiculous for some of the movies that I can watch, but I can't watch Freddy Krueger. He pulls out them claws, and I'm out.
Ian, that is a no-go for me. as well.
Audition? Not familiar.
It's a Japanese horror film, which I would also consider a mixture of the torture genre and the suspense genre and the psycho thrillers.
I am not for rape scenes in any movie. Just honestly.
Well, with Audition, it's a powerful man in Japan. His wife passes, and he needs a new bride. He needs a new wife. So he sets up auditions, but he's not telling people that it's for him to find a new wife. It's for a movie. And this sweet, innocent, beautiful young lady comes in. And I mean, she is absolutely gorgeous and just like beautiful long hair, sweet little innocent face.
Mm-hmm.
And he likes her, and she just sits there waiting for the phone to ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just see this black bag in the background start thrashing around.
What?
Apparently,
What are you about to say?
she had kidnapped somebody and put them in a body bag behind her.
What?
That she had tortured. And when she finds out that the guy was just using her, she kidnaps him and tortures him.
Hey, Christopher O'Connor.
Hey, Christopher. And she does it with this like schoolgirl glee in her eyes and smiling, and
ooh,
it is like, why? It is really scary, and it freaks me out. I'm like, no, I can't watch it. I just can't.
Oh.
And this is coming from a guy who will eat Italian food and watch a horror film. I actually kind of pissed off my mom doing that before.
Wow.
I was watching the Resident Evil movie, eating a large plate of lasagna. She's like, how can you do that? I'm like, what? I'm eating dinner.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell that story. Never mind. I used to date an undertaker, and he could do undertaking work and eat a cheeseburger.
Okay.
You could. It was a weird movie, Jared Reed, but I actually like that movie.
How do you feel about British horror films or European horror films in general?
I've only seen a handful, but Luther, oh gosh. The TV series, I've seen the whole thing, Maddie. The whole thing. I love Luther, and I've seen the movie too.
Like, is there any, like you said, you've seen a few of the European and British horror films.
I have.
Which ones come to mind when you hear about them? When you think about them?
Which movies?
Mm-hmm.
You had to ask me that because now I draw a complete blank.
Yes, Christopher Connor. They did make a Luther movie.
I don't know. I've drawn a complete blank. The Blob was a British horror film originally, before it came over here. So that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm. What about any of the Italian giallo films? Like,
oh, you got me lost there. Don't have that one.
Giallo films are essentially like Italian versions of slashers, but they're more like almost detective stories as well. Stuff like Deep Red or Tenebrae, Torso. And, you know, they were mainly directed by like Dario Argento, Mario Bava, like Suspiria.
Yeah, I don't know any of those. Sorry.
You can tell my knowledge of horror films.
Yeah. Shaun of the Dead, does that count as a British horror film?
Yes, that does count as a British horror film. And
okay, that's my favorite one then.
it is actually a really funny movie. I love that. I'm not going anywhere unless I know where all the exits are and I can have a beer and a smoke.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Yeah. If that counts as a British horror film, I'm sold to Shaun of the Dead. Wicker Man, is that a British?
Yes.
Horror film? Okay, that's a great movie. I know I'm naming just like popular ones, but that's a great movie.
Oh,
Dracula. I don't know if that's considered British or not. I would think it would be. The Omen. The Omen.
the Omen definitely is. It's a phenomenal.
And The Omen is such a phenomenal. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Such a phenomenal movie. Damien. Oh, God.
It's all for you.
I'm gave me chills. Yes. Oh, Damien, what an evil little butthead he was.
I remember the remake when it came out, the promotion for it, because it came out on 6/66.
Are you kidding?
The Omen remake came out June 6, 2006.
Oh my gosh, that's really awesome. That's awesome. Really, it is.
I remember the promotion was all over. Oh God, I'm dating myself on this one, but MySpace. Yes, I am old enough to know what MySpace is, and yes, I am old enough to have had one at the time.
Kill List, is that a British horror movie? It might
don't-
be American. It might
I
be
don't
American.
know.
Actually.
But 28 Days Later, oh my.
Oh yeah, Damien, that's a good one. Good job.
That
Damien.
movie freaked me out.
Let me Google it. I don't know if Kill List is or not. I think it might be. Yeah, that's a British horror movie.
I don't believe it was filmed in Pennsylvania, but I do know the story took place in Pennsylvania because it was based off something known as the Star Jelly incident.
Law was filmed in Pennsylvania. No, I didn't know that. Omen passed away this week. I didn't know that, Christopher O'Connor.
Well, let's see if we can bring some people up and if they can ask us if they have any questions.
Very cool.
I'm going to bring you guys up. I'm going to put the link in the side chat here, and if you want to come up and ask us a question,
movies.
I do ask. We keep this drama free. This is just to come up and ask us a question if we have any particulars or anything about the stuff we talked about. Get our opinions. And it doesn't have to be about the movies we talked about today. It could even be about like anything.
I couldn't agree with that statement more about that movie. Fix the sound and touch up the negative. Yep. Yeah, the sound sucked in that movie. But it was a good movie.
Well, the reason why they did that is if you get the DVD and you watch the commentary, they explained they wanted to make it feel as real as possible.
Christopher O'Connor, that's a good question. Is Invasion of the Body Snatchers a British movie?
I
don't know.
I would say it is, even though it's not, because it just had that British feel.
No, it's not. But gosh, I would have thought it would have been definitely.
Like I do enjoy the Hammer films.
Yes. That's a great question, though.
I love Hammer Studios. They put out some amazing films. They put out some really good horror films. The Exorcist is not a British film. It's actually based on a real-world event again. The Robert Doe
The Belko Experiment. Jared Reed. Yes.
That's a hard movie to watch.
It is.
Like you see society fall in that movie. It's like, okay, even though you don't actually see society fall, you get that, like, okay, this is what happens when push comes to shove.
Mm-hmm.
But this is all taking place in a yes, that in The Exorcist 3, The Heretic is a very underrated film.
It's such a good movie. Exorcist 3 is good.
I love Brad Dourif's portrayal in that movie. He is just a phenomenal character actor. I love his work. But again, guys, here is the link if you want to come up and ask us a question.
Or just talk about movies.
Share your opinions on what we talked about today. And do this for a little bit longer, and then we're going to wrap it up.
This was fun. Thank you. Damien the Wicker Man, not Nick Cage.
Oh, God, the bees! Bees! I know. Now, here's something interesting. Because I'm such a big horror fan and I love certain actors, I follow them. Christopher Lee was in the original Wicker Man, and he paid for his entire press tour himself.
Really?
He didn't even
Why?
get paid for that movie.
Why did he have to do that?
He chose to.
Weird.
No, the movie, its funding got cut, and he believed so hard in that movie.
Yeah, I knew that, Maddie.
We have our first guest, Damien.
Damien, hello, dear.
Oh,
Son of Satan. Okay, weird.
well, you did. They do say the devil's name and he will come. And I didn't think you call out my name.
You did say Damien.
I did.
Uh,
How are you doing, hon?
Okay. What do you think about Aussie horror movies?
Aussie horror films. Oh God.
Something like Wolf Creek.
Wolf Creek is
I'm gonna have to look some up because I really don't know them.
Wolf Creek is a very good one to get started with, based on
I think if Crocodile Dundee was a serial killer.
Trick or Treat apparently is an Aussie horror film.
Wow.
I'm looking at list of Aussie horror films right now. Trick or Treat is one.
I would have to say Razorback is like one of my favorites.
That reminds me of that New Zealand one, Black Sheep.
Razorback is a 1980s, I want to say 85 horror film about a giant rogue what they call a razorback hog.
Yeah, a boar.
And it is the size of a fucking school bus.
Oh wow.
And it just tears through this guy's house, and it kills his family, and he's blamed for the murders, but he goes on this crazy hunt to hunt this thing.
Jennifer's Body is an Aussie horror film.
I would not have thought of that.
I did not. Yeah, I didn't know that, but apparently it is listed as one.
And the Babadook.
The Babadook, it does say that. And Jennifer's Body, what a great movie.
I didn't care for Jennifer's Body.
I like it because it's like a teen
teen
thing.
horror.
And I love teen horrors. I really do. I wish I didn't, but I'm kind of there. It's Megan Fox.
Don't get me wrong. Megan Fox is a very attractive young lady, but
that's not what I'm into.
But I'm just saying, I mean, her acting in that movie was just like very stilted.
And that's why it's good, because it's so bad.
Hey, Sorsha.
Sorsha Red Hair, hello.
We're talking horror movies, Sorsha. And if you have any questions about Brain Dead or Dead Alive, is a Kiwi. It's a Kiwi film. I actually like that. It's one of Peter Jackson's first horror films. His
I know
first one that I am aware of is called Bad Taste, where he actually stars in it. He plays a character named Dudley, and Dudley's never give up. It's actually a really cheaply shot movie, but it is amazing. Well, Damien, since you're up here with us again, and I would like to ask you this.
Okay.
When it comes to Aussie horror, and being our resident Aussie man, could you recommend something that you personally enjoy to watch, like a guilty pleasure Aussie horror film?
Not really I do have the Nightmare on Elm Street movies if Mandy wants to watch them.
I think that's a hard pass.
I'm good, but thank you. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
I'd probably go maybe Wolf Creek.
Wolf Creek is a solid choice.
Yeah.
The first one. It's hard to the Triangle is sort of a weird one. It's sort of it's kind of like a horror movie version of Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm.
The bunch of people basically go out on a boat. Something bad happens, and they end up finding this, I guess, sort of a cruise ship adrift.
Mm-hmm.
But then they start finding different things, like they've already been there before.
Ooh, that sounds like Blair Witch 2 kind of deal.
Now, I would say this: my guilty pleasure Aussie film is Bait.
Never seen it.
Oh, it is a phenomenal, scary. It's a great shark movie. A group of individuals get trapped in a supermarket after a cyclone hits Australia and floods it, and they're terrorized by a pack of bull sharks.
Okay, so shark movies. If you have to pick, Open Water or Jaws.
Jaws every time.
Jaws.
Good choice. Good choice. Hey, Brian, Omega Wolf.
The Sharknado ones are definitely a guilty pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Now, I've covered this on the movie channel, but Gatorsploitation films. How do you feel about those, Damien?
Gators, alligators. We don't really have gators down here. We have crocs.
Well, Gatorsploitation does include crocodiles.
Deep Blue Sea. That's true, Jared.
Yeah. I did like the that one that Betty White was in. Was it Lake
Placid?
Lake Placid. Yeah.
I would say Alligator 2 is like one of my favorite just because how bad it is. And there's a great line for frauditors. I'm gonna have to clip in one day. Me and Damien were watching it in the Discord on a movie night.
Oh no!
And this is not going to ruin the movie, but this giant alligator needs to be hunted. So this business guy hires these Cajuns, and he gets caught by the alligator. And the guy he hired goes, "Oh man, I didn't get paid yet."
Nice.
Now, if anyone else would like to come up, I will post the link again. It's also pinned. And you can ask us anything about what we've talked about today, or if you have a question about movies in general, or get our opinions on stuff. I know last time we had a really nice discussion on video game horror movies.
Yeah, and how crap the movie adaptations are.
Okay, so another if.
Mhm.
Christine or look, I just drew a complete blank.
Haven't heard of Just Drawing a Complete Blank. Oh, I have heard of.
Christine or what's the girl who goes to prom and she gets to
Carrie.
pick blood? Christine or Carrie? Yes, which one?
Ooh, I gotta go Christine. It's probably not gonna be the popular opinion.
I'm
I
going
think
to
I'm
go
going to
Christine
go
as well.
Carrie. I'm going Carrie.
Oh, we have another person to join us.
Yeah.
Juggernaut Jared Reed.
Hey,
Hello.
Jared.
Hello. So, NCR and Miss Mandy, have you ever heard of a trilogy of movies called the Hell House LLC movies?
Yes, I have heard of them.
The
Me, Ian, I
interesting,
thought it was good. I'm sorry.
sorry. The interesting thing is they were filmed 20 miles away from me.
Oh, wow.
And I had a chance to become an extra in the third movie.
Oh, cool. I've been an extra in a movie before.
It is really interesting actually being an extra in a movie.
It is. I was an extra in Talladega Nights.
Really?
Nice.
Yes, because some of it was filmed here in Gastonia, North Carolina. I've been docked so many times, so I might as well tell it. And the scene where he goes and sees his dad at the rundown hotel, and I was person driving down the road.
Nice.
Oh, that
Yeah.
was you that stuck your head out the window and went, "I love you, Bobby."
No, that wasn't me. I was just person making a left. That's all I was. You don't even see my face. I'm just turning down the road. That's it.
Well, you got
When he's riding his bike down the road, going to the hotel, I'm driving down the road.
Well, you got to get your start somewhere.
I'm not trying to get a start. I just thought it was kind of cool.
I've never had the opportunity to actually be an extra in a movie, but I did actually live near a very iconic scene from Edward Scissorhands.
Really?
There is a scene where you see him at a shopping plaza.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Southgate Plaza in Lakeland, Florida. And I used to live like half a mile away from there. And that plaza is still there, and it has not changed since they've shot the movie. The iconic arching of the building, they've kept it like that. Even now, they refuse to update it because it's considered a historical landmark there. And they even are in talks of putting a plaque at the plaza.
The interesting thing is, NCR, if you look out in the Pittsburgh area, that church from Night of the Living Dead is still standing. They want to tear it down.
I'm sorry, I have to run. My other boss is getting a hold of me, but you guys have fun. Thank you for having me up, NTR. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I had a great time, and thank you for showing up. And if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to Miss Mandy's YouTube channel. I will put the link back down below.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. I
that's the
stream
wrong
every
one.
day at 1 p.m. Eastern, and we do Karens and sob sits, and tomorrow we're playing bingo. So,
Oh, that's always fun.
all right. Thank you, guys. Y'all have fun.
You too, Miss Mandy.
Bye.
Bye. But yeah, I would have to agree. Some of the stuff in being an extra, I've wanted to do it, but I never really had the opportunity.
It is, I will say, it is a fairly life-changing experience.
Now, I have a question for both of you guys.
Yes.
And we have another person joining us. I have a question for both of you guys.
Yes.
Hello, Doctor.
Doctor. When it comes to independent films, what are your takes on those? Are you a fan of them, or are you not your cup of tea?
Sometimes they can do better than the actual full-scale releases.
Independent filmmakers, a lot of their films, they do a lot more work than the big budget studios, which actually shows in a lot of their work.
I would say that indie films are the only place where the real art's still being made, as far as especially horror. I mean, the big budget horror films like all the Blumhouses are kind of suffering compared to, your smaller budget, like your Ari Aster films, or the film that I wanted to talk about, which hasn't been brought up yet, is Titan. It won the Palme d'Or 2 years ago, and it's one of the most amazing, I guess you'd call it horror or body horror type movies. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it's by the same director who did Raw.
I haven't seen Raw or that one yet, but body horror has been one of those things that always it makes me so uncomfortable. And I know that's the style of the movies, but it's not like the stuff that Cronenberg did. The stuff like Under the Skin really messed with my mind a bit.
Under the Skin is like the most indie of indie films. Like, if you're familiar with how that was filmed, like half of those people aren't even actors. They just literally used a handheld and put Johansson in those situations. The gentleman with the deformity on his face, who really stuck out a lot, was not an actor, and they found him just while shooting.
And stuff like that's what draws me into horror films is, we can experience stuff like how with body horror, we're so afraid of what our bodies are doing to ourselves. And when we see stuff like Under the Skin or stuff like, Videodrome or Naked Lunch, it just makes you so uncomfortable.
Yeah, James Woods.
I think you have to watch Titan. I don't think it'll be as aggressively upsetting of a body horror as something like earlier Cronenberg's. And it's not as graphic as Raw, but it is absolutely a one-of-a-kind movie. I mean, if you're going to win the Palme d'Or as a horror movie, it's something you need to see.
Yeah, Cabin Fever, that was another body horror film that, especially now after what we went through for the last 4 years.
Is Raw that cannibal movie?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I think I might have seen that.
Well, now that we're on the topic of cannibal films, do you guys prefer the older stuff, or do you prefer like the newer stuff, kind of like The Menu?
I kind of like the older stuff myself.
Yeah, I prefer the older stuff.
You feel like The Menu was a cannibal type film?
I do. With what I've seen and the original script, something I like to do is I'd like to try to track down original scripts or screenplays and try to read them online. In the original one, it was a lot darker, but I feel like The Menu could be considered a cannibal film.
Okay. I like The Menu, but I feel like it left a lot on the table. I mean, no, not meant to be on
Hey, we love a good pun here.
Just get a doggy bag.
It's just they didn't.
Oh.
They set such lofty goals of what they could do, and then they didn't see them through. I mean, Ralph Fiennes was great because he's always great, and I don't know. I would have liked to see a different ending, something a little more bleak.
Now, for me, I'm somewhere in the middle when it comes to cannibal films. I prefer I prefer stuff like Hannibal, Silence of the Lambs. When it comes to the cannibal, style horror films, I mean the '80s jungle cannibal films, they were just a little too intense, and then the newer stuff is kind of just too tame.
There was a new movie that came out of nowhere for me, and I normally try to find movies about a year before they're released, and then I have to wait and struggle. But something I didn't even know was coming out was a movie called Fresh on Hulu, cannibal movie.
Yeah.
And that was phenomenal. That was a great movie, if you've seen that.
I started it, but my cable went out, and I didn't get to finish it, and it's been on my continue to watch list for like 2 months. I'm like, I've got to do it. I've got to do it this week. I will say this: I'm a fan of anything with a good story, and I prefer the older '80s, early '90s horror films.
Soylent Green.
So definitely a cannibal film. So that's more of a dystopian sci-fi film, in my opinion.
Do you think that the cannibal films nowadays don't really exist as much as, well, I mean, they do in very rare circumstances like Fresh or Raw, but I think a lot of them are kind of intertwined with the vampire style films like Bones and All.
Yeah. That one was
Yeah.
good.
Now, here's a surprising cannibal film, and I really enjoy it because it's just so subtle with that, and it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
I was just thinking about that.
It's like real subtle with that. Dr. Pleasant, what do you think?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't seen it in a number of years. I just ordered they released a new 4K scan of it. I got it yesterday. I was going to rewatch it again probably tomorrow evening. But yeah, I mean, if you know the story about Ed Gaines, who it was loosely based on, along with a lot of other horror films, there was some messed up stuff. But yeah, it does have that, but it's not explicit. It's just part of all the horrible things that the guy's doing.
Oh, yeah. And
in the same way is with that one Rob Zombie film, House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of all mixed into it. So it doesn't focus on that, but yeah, he's going to eat some people or their skin or whatever.
And with me, like I said, it was just so subtle with, the message of, is industrial farming, taking away the livelihoods of families, or is it, we're trying to sate that carnal lust for violence? And then you get that scene of the hitcher marking the van, and then Shelley just, kind of like going down that same path. It's just, it just kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? God, it escapes me, but like almost like he's becoming like them.
Okay.
I mean, I honestly thought Gunnar Hansen portrayed Leatherface really well.
He did.
I was a bit surprised when Leatherface made it into Mortal Kombat. That was funny.
There's a group of horror films that might be considered horror films or maybe not, but I just call them vibe films. and they're films that I can watch endlessly. And the guys I think of who make them are people like Gaspar Noé or Nicholas Winding Refn or possibly even Lars von Trier, where they're just so bright and so floaty and colorful. Like I think of movies like The Neon Demon and Enter the Void, which I don't know if they count exactly as horror, but and someone says it's because I'm colorblind, and that's how Nicholas Winding Refn, why he makes everything so bright and so color driven. But I mean, those horror movies are kind of what I'm into now. I don't know if you follow those guys a lot, but or if you have anything else. I've gotten recommendations for other movies, but it's just like those movies are just so bright and impactful visually that I don't know, they just really hit more. I think The Neon Demon being a movie that just is overlooked by a lot of people, but kind of a what would you call it, a cult favorite?
I would call it, yeah, a cult favorite. Because Neon Demon is on the verge of becoming a cult classic. And I love the cult classics. I mean, they're campy, but some of them are just like really good. Like Class of Nukem High. It's one of those cult classics that it's over the top, but yet it's beautifully shot and strangely, creepy. With like, the whole plot of like nuclear waste is changing the kids. And again, it's trauma, so.
I mean, if you look at a lot of the psychological horror films as opposed to the horror films that it's all straight up, you see everything going on, I would honestly say that I would prefer the psychological ones, because if you look at how they're shown, no one knows who the killer is, really. You look at The Fog, you look at The Thing. Do you really know what you're dealing with?
Yeah, even decades later, people still debate over the ending of The Thing.
Right.
Apparently, Saoirse Redhair couldn't make it through the whole movie Wrong Turn.
That is one of those movies that I couldn't even watch. But it's a good segue into my last question for everybody. How do you guys feel about horror comedies?
I liked Idle Hands.
That's the first thing I thought of too, was Idle Hands, as far as doing a horror comedy right.
Plus anything done by Mel Brooks. Like Dead and Loving It.
Yeah.
Me personally, one of my favorite horror comedies is Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, love that one.
I don't know if Jared or Doc have you seen it?
I've seen it.
Would you consider Ghostbusters horror comedy?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, hi, Mark.
The original Ghostbusters films.
Oh God,
I
yes.
thought were phenomenal.
My favorite scene is with Ernie Hudson interviewing with Irene. For a steady paycheck, I'll believe anything you want me to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Eating Raoul?
I have not.
You should put that down.
Have
what about
you
the Michael J. Fox one, The Frighteners?
Frighteners is actually really good. And the comedic elements are not over the top and it's not too much. So it keeps that perfect balance with the horror, in my opinion.
So, what would you say are your least favorite horror movies?
Genre or particular movies in general?
Particular movies that you wanted to love, and then, oh, speaking of comedy horror, Ready or Not from a few years back.
I've heard good things about that.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
One I just thought of was Happy Death Day.
Yep.
I would have to say one of the horror films I was excited for, but it was a total letdown for me, was I would have to say it's a part of the Wishmaster series, and it was Wishmaster 3 and 4. They recast the Jinn, and it was just so. It was like it took me right out of the movies. I didn't believe the actor, and then they went with this whole crazy thing with the angels, and the Rob Zombie Halloween films too. Those really let me down.
I actually like the zombie Halloween films. I don't know why, but I really did. Especially the second one.
I think, honestly, for me, what took me out of it was a lot of the stuff he shot for shock value, in my opinion.
So do you prefer the McBride Halloween films to them?
I would say the first one, the 2018, is good to those. But Halloween ends. Not Halloween ends, but Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
It had its moments. I did like the subtle nods to Season of the Witch with the Silver Shamrock masks.
Mhm.
I did like how they tried to keep it one cohesive night. But it was a letdown for me as well. I'll say that. I felt like they made Michael to be something more than he wasn't.
The second Nightmare on Elm Street, I think it was the second, the one that Robert Englund, I think, directed or something.
No, he didn't direct that one.
It was either the second one or the third one, the one where he basically took over this kid's body.
That was Nightmare 2. He didn't direct any of the Nightmare on Elm Street, but he did appear in it out of makeup on the school bus. He was the school bus driver.
Yeah. I didn't like that because the first one set up the whole thing that he goes into the one place parents can't protect their kids from, their dreams. And then in the second movie, he's basically out in broad daylight like a regular slasher.
I'll say the biggest recent horror letdown for me that I was looking forward to and just thought was really atrociously done was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. If you're familiar with that.
I heard of it. I'm drawing a blank on.
It's an A24 film. It was the first lead for I forget her name. I believe she's Slovenian. She was nominated for the second Borat movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I know the actress. The movie's starting to come to me, but I've heard a lot of people say that movie was just all over the place.
It was kind of a mess, and it was really targeted towards like I guess you would say a Gen Z crowd. So there were some things they liked about it, but the movie was just. I expected a lot more from that director, and from that cast, I guess.
Warm Bodies is a great horror comedy. I will say that. I would say another horror movie letdown of the past couple years was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that went on Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, that was trash, yeah.
Oh, God. I was excited, too. I mean, I was like, okay, we're getting a new direct sequel. So that was going to muddle up the timelines again. but I was excited for it. And then out of the blue, it just became a woke fest.
Yeah. Same with was it reboot of Nightmare?
Mm-hmm.
Was it James Earl Harvey?
Jackie Earl Haley.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that. I don't know. Just he came off more of a pedophile for me in that movie.
And a lot of people did feel that same way, especially with you taking the fact that he had just got done shooting the little children. And if you're not familiar, he does play a offender in that movie. And again, I think they strayed too much away from the subtext of the original Nightmare, where it was implied he may have been.
Yeah.
What about South Korean horror? I really think the Korean movies that are coming out lately are just above and beyond, really.
Train to Busan, that blew me away.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
And The Host.
The Host you saw, but yeah, that's a great one.
What about The Grudge?
The Wailing is there.
The Grudge movies I couldn't get into.
I mean, look at
The Grudge. Is that Ju-on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let the right one in.
Again, another beautifully shot independent film.
I like both versions of that too. Like I could watch either one and I'd be fine.
But the thing is, I do believe it was a shot-for-shot remake.
It was.
I guess kind of like Funny Games. What do you think about Funny Games? Would you call that a horror?
I would absolutely call it a horror movie. I would classify it in the genre of horror of home invasion films.
I heard I don't have any facts on it, but I hear they're remaking The Strangers.
Yes, they are remaking The Strangers, and they're. From last I heard, the script that I found, it was going to be a much more darker. Almost like one of the characters was going to be be more playful with the torturing of the two captives.
I felt like The Strangers, the original one, right? I felt like that's about as dark as you can get. I don't know. I mean, I could see it being more violent, but as far as just like dread, I mean, there was nothing worse than that for me. I guess being out of contact with anybody, and I don't know.
I would say a good movie that would fall in that same genre would be Eden Lake. Again, it's another one of those movies that's really hard to watch. And, well, we're going to talk about this next time we have CA on here, but movies he wants to talk about, if you're not commentator auditor, he's going to be on here later on, hopefully soon. We're going to talk about historical movies and movies based on historical events. But since I'm bringing this up, like the last question for the entire panel is your thoughts on movies inspired or based on true events. Do you feel they take too many liberties to, be entertaining, or do you feel like they're doing it just right? They're doing justice to it.
I kind of believe it kind of differs into one of two camps. One, whether they banking on the based on a true story thing, where it's more documentary than movie, or the other, where they're basically using that real life event as a foundation and then building a fiction on top of that. Kind of like the Assassin's Creed games do, take real life events, real life locations, and then just build fiction on top of that. So it kind of differs.
I think you're right, Damien. I think a lot of the when they say based on a true story or based on real events,
yeah,
they take way too many caveats when it comes to that. Like what parts are based on that and what parts aren't.
Yeah, Mark's got that right.
I would say that if I want to see a movie based on a true story, that I don't mind when things are embellished to make for an entertaining experience, whether it be 12 Years a Slave or The Social Network or like Wolf of Wall Street, A Beautiful Mind, Moneyball, those kind of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because the simple fact is that on a lot of those movies, you can also find documentaries. And I love documentaries. I think that's what they're there for. If you want, you know, excluding like maybe Michael Moore, who also embellishes the documentaries. You know, I think that's what that's there for. But I want to be entertained. And if they stuck exactly to what happened, let's say again in Moneyball, because that's something where we know pretty much everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
12 Years a Slave, you know, we're piecing it together from writings. If they just did everything exactly how it was in Moneyball, it wouldn't be entertaining.
I honestly feel it depends with the director. Honestly, that's how I feel. It really depends with the director. Because if you take something like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's based on the Ed Gein story. And again, that's real. That's art imitating real life with some of it. But then, like you said, with Moneyball, it was like just pretty much we know what's going to happen. And when they say inspired by true events or inspired by a true story or based on a true story, I kind of get hesitant on like how much of it is actually based on the story or the event.
My favorite thing is what the Coen brothers did with Fargo, where they said based on a true story, and nothing about it was based on a true story. They just did that for fun in the beginning. I love it.
But personally, I feel it really comes down to the directors, and if they can, if they can make it entertaining and embellish it slightly, I'm cool with it. But if it's too much and I can notice it, like there's no way that's actually happened.
But I mean, then you have one movie in particular that they created the story, the supposed true story around it, even having missing posters for the three people that were supposedly killed. If you know what movie I'm talking about, NCR,
The Blair Witch Project.
Yes.
Which that tactic was actually used before with Cannibal Holocaust.
Cannibal Holocaust, yeah.
Right.
The director actually had to produce the bodies.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're alive.
They just went and overly embellished a lot of that stuff.
Wasn't Fuller's Man Bite Dog also kind of in that same vein?
I believe so.
I saw Blair Witch in the theaters before it got a bunch of fanfare. That movie was terrifying before you knew.
And I think that was a great way of using the found footage genre right. Especially, it's a fake story, but the way they did it with the websites, the missing posters. I honestly think if you're going to do a fake found footage film, you could copy it, and that would be the greatest way to do it. Kind of like with what was that one where they did that pencil game, Charlie, Charlie, Charlie?
I don't know that one.
No.
It was around the time of like the Slenderman, like right when creepypastas were blowing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Charlie bit my finger. I don't know the Charlie.
Charlie
movie.
Kill him.
It was like the Gallows or something like that. It was something similar to it. And there was this internet game, like you would take two pencils and you would set them and you could ask the question to Charlie and he would answer it. It was that whole thing.
Ouija 3, Charlie Challenge?
I think.
I didn't know this was a movie that existed. I know the original Ouija movie was terrible. Ouija 2 was somehow one of the greatest movies of the year. And then I didn't even know Ouija 3 existed.
I think on that note, you know, the fact that a lot of these movies go unrecognized and unnoticed is a shame and a tragedy. Because there's some really good movies out there.
There are.
And a lot of them just get swept under the rugs, you know, due to big Hollywood.
Yeah, it's the same with games.
Was it, Damien?
I was just saying it's the same with games. There's a lot of underrated stuff that gets swept under and becomes like a cult classic movie years later. Everyone's just looking to what's next at the cinemas rather than actually searching for themselves.
Two of my favorite directors used to be indie, like big time indie, and now they're getting so much money thrown at them to put out these flagpole movies that they're still great, but you're seeing like a combination of great directors now back in like the forefront, like young directors. And I'm thinking of Denis Villeneuve and also Yorgos Lanthimos, who started with small movies. Like Villeneuve did Enemy, which was great. I think it was shot for like $130,000. And after that, he got, what did he get before Dune? That was a big budget. Arrival, which I still think is one of the best movies of the century. And now he's doing the Dune movies, which I don't even know what those things cost, like $1 billion.
Yeah.
And
Let's do it.
Same thing. Now he's getting money thrown at him. He did The Favorite, which got nominated for Best Picture and won Olivia Colman an Oscar after doing movies like Dogtooth or Kinetta, which are like super indie and amazing. And I like to see them come up and be a part of Hollywood. Like even if you go to like a Wes Anderson, who's always been kind of indie, but also has like all the
mainstream
backing he would ever want.
Well, look at Uwe Boll. He's mainstream and he's one of the worst directors of all time.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying I think a lot of the directors getting the money thrown at them aren't great. Whether it be who's the guy, Michael Bay?
Yeah.
Who's ever doing the Transformers movies now?
Yeah.
I mean, these are movies that are just kind of directorless, you know, seat fillers. But it's nice to see some of the young directors who started. Another one being who went huge was Chris Nolan, from The Following and Memento to whatever's going on now.
Oppenheimer.
Tenet was horrible, but my gosh, was it beautiful to look at.
Well, we've been going for over 2 hours, and I've had so much fun, and I've enjoyed talking to everyone here. Doc, if you have a channel you like to plug, please feel free to plug it now.
Dr. Plett, me?
Yes.
I don't have any channel. I don't know anything about this. I think I watched one of your Frauditor videos and then ended this, so I'm just sitting home on a Sunday by myself, and I am a movie fan, so I jumped on.
Oh, it's not a problem. That's the thing with the movie talk is I want people to get a break from all the frauders and stuff because again, they are a bit taxing on the mind, and I feel this is a great break just for us to talk about movies we all love and share a common interest. And who knows, we might, pass on some knowledge to people on some really good movies they need to watch.
What about the actor turned frauditor, Chili decastrated?
Oh God, Damien! Damien, go to the pool of shame. I put holy water in there just for you.
To be quite honest, I might be biased because I'm talking specifically from my own point of view, but as a lawyer watching what they do, it's even more infuriating.
Oh, I know. I am looking at what they're doing, and I'm looking at what laws they're breaking. I'm just like, why are they not in cuffs? And I think the worst thing would be, and this is what gives me nightmares, so we can end on this nightmare of a movie. What if there was a frauditor zombie nightmare?
Oh, yeah.
Like a horde of frauditors all like zombied out, just with their cell phones.
First of
You
all,
get bitten
would
or
not
scratched
be
and you-
zombies because they don't have brains.
Yeah, you get bitten or scratched and you don't turn into a zombie. Your hand turns into a cell phone and you become a frauder.
I think the scary thing would be, what would they say?
I know my right.
7.
The name of the movie would be "It's My Constitutional Right."
More like
Tagline
constitutional fright.
Yeah, and the tagline would be "Here comes the free press."
I think the most amazing thing about them, and I mean it's not anything that's hidden from anyone, but pretty much all of them doing it have some kind of criminal record. So it's just like they don't like the cops and they can get paid sometimes for doing this. I don't know how much YouTubers really get paid. No clue.
I'll tell you this.
Maddie, you
It's
come
not
join me.
enough.
So yeah, I have no idea. So but they're all, every one of them has some kind of criminal history. They're just angry at the cops, and it's like I've had this. I'm assuming most people have, but when you have like a little bit of like a problem with authority, like you feel like you're not in control, so you have like a control issue.
Mm-hmm.
People just take it to the maximum. They're like, I'm going to find someone that I can yell at without getting beat up. And they go and they do it. And most of them are, I'm assuming, and I don't know them personally, but cowards, to be honest. I don't think they'd ever say that to just a regular person without a camera strapped to them.
I'll be honest with you. I am fully monetized on my channel, and you don't get a lot. It's a lot of work, but I think the way that they over portray their stuff with a lot of the, I would have to say kind of like how Long Island Audits does it. He does that whole, he overacts with them yelling the de-escalation or his vendetta against that Sergeant McPhee or McFay. Well, on that, guys, we'll be doing this again next week. I don't know if I'll have a guest, but if not, I will definitely have some stuff for us to talk about. I want to thank Damien. I want to thank Jared. I want to thank Dr. Pleasant and everyone else here.
Just think of me as Andy to your Conan.
Oh, okay. Okay, Andy. On that note, be well, be safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.